What's going on, ladies, gents, and kids of all ages? It is Eric coming back at you from the Nerd Cave for one of your favorite things, another deck tech video. It has been voted on, and one of the most sought after decks to see is an update to Ruby Steel Pirates, so we're going to be looking at that today, and so stick around for more. I know y'all have been waiting anxiously for the booster box giveaway that is coming very soon. I already have the Inklands booster box in hand to give away. I've actually had it for a little bit, so we're all ready to give that away. It's just probably going to happen in Friday's video. If you're wondering why, if you haven't seen my post on here or you don't follow me on Patreon, it's totally free to join in on the conversation on Patreon, by the way. So if you just want to join in on the conversation, definitely jump over there. My son was born last Tuesday, so very exciting. 7 weeks premature, so I've been back and forth to the hospital like a madman. He's doing great. Mom is doing great, so everything is awesome there. But I've been incredibly busy, so I haven't had time to pull all the names together for the booster box giveaway, and I don't want to accidentally miss anyone. So we're going to be doing that very soon, and we're going to have that giveaway coming at you, so stick around for that. We're also going to have a new playmat design coming very soon, and that is also going to be a giveaway. So make sure you're dropping those comments below to get entered in both of those giveaways in the meantime. So the good news for you guys is it is another opportunity to get entered into that giveaway. But without any further ado, let's talk about Ruby Steel Pirates. So the first card we're playing in this deck, it is definitely a 4 of, is going to be Jolly Roger. 1 cost location, 2 to move in, 5 health. It's something people typically ignore, but obviously pirates are going to be able to move into the Jolly Roger for free, and they are going to gain rush while they're there. So it's going to give all of your characters haste that are pirates. Obviously a great option for a pirate deck. The next card, another definite 4 of. We are playing 4 Captain Hook. Another great card, Challenger +2, 1 drop. So it is going to attack for 3. So essentially a 3/2 for 1 when it's attacking. And of course it is a pirate. It is also a captain, which is relevant to one of the other cards we are playing in this deck. Next up, we do run 2 Queen of Hearts, not so much for her. Obviously, we can give our pirates rush, but she is a nice sneaky surprise option when you don't have Jolly Roger on the field. They may not think you have rush, so 2/2 rush can get a sneaky attack in. She is also a shift target for one of the other characters that we are playing, because one of the things this deck struggles with most is card draw, so we're resolving that with our other Queen of Hearts, which we'll talk about more later. Then we are running 4 Mr. Smee, fantastic option. Obviously it is another pirate. It is also a 3/3 for 3, and when you have a captain on the field, it is going to prevent it from doing its ability, which is at the end of your turn he is going to deal 1 damage to himself if he is exerted. However, if you do have a captain on the field, he's not going to take any damage, so he can just go ahead and quest away, attack away, as long as he still has a little bit of health left. In our 1/2 drop action, we got a song here. We're playing Teeth and Ambitions. So again, when you have Smee on the board and you do have a captain out, he can sing this favorably, dealing 2 damage to himself and remaining alive to be able to quest in on a later turn if that's what you need to do just to get something off of the field. There is also the relevant play into John Silver, where if you have some locations out, he can actually take no damage from Teeth and Ambitions. So it's a great option in this deck, but it is a 2 of because there's a lot of cool cards to play in Ruby Steel. And then we're going to talk about one of the 3 locations we run in this deck. It's not super location heavy. We are playing 10 locations. That is Thebes. This is a 2 cost, 1 to move there, 7 willpower, and during your turn, whenever a character banishes another character while they are there, you do gain 2 lore. This deck is heavily focused on challenging, so that's a great option, and having a cheap location with so much willpower is fantastic. Then another card from the new set. This is another one of the updates to pirates that I thought was necessarily. Not a pirate would be fantastic if he was. He is an ally instead, but he's a 2/3 for 3, quest for 1. However, his ability is what really makes him great. Like I mentioned, this deck is focused on challenging, and during your turn, you may play this character for free if an opposing character was banished this turn. So you could do something like Jolly Roger on turn 1, Smee on turn 2, or Captain Hook on turn 2, banish whatever character they have in play because you're able to give your pirate a rush, and then play however many LeFous you have in your hand for free. He also can be good in the late game when you're typically challenging in, banishing things. So the next card we're running in this deck is another 3-drop. This is Smash, deal 3 damage. There's a lot of Song hate in the current meta, so I thought Smash could be a good alternative option to be able to deal 3 damage pretty reliably, as opposed to something like Strength of a Raging Fire, which could get sapped out for being a Song if your opponent is playing that type of deck. Also, if you don't have a lot of characters on the board, Strength of a Raging Fire can be a bit of a feel bad, but singing it is nice, so there's some give and take. Strength of a Raging Fire is definitely under consideration. If you're looking for something that's an alternative to Smash, that's definitely what I'd recommend. Then we have another card from the new set, one of the few characters we did bring in from the new set. That is Tuk Tuk. Again, this card is not a pirate, but it is fantastic in a location-based deck, and like I mentioned, this deck does run 10 locations. It's a 2/3 evasive for 3. When you play this character, you may move him and another character into a location for free, and the other character gets +2 attack. So this is fantastic. My understanding is it does as much of the ability as it can do, so if you don't have a location on the board, you still give the other character +2 attack. There is a break in that conversation and that piece of text here at the bottom of the card. If you do have a location on the board, you get to move not only that other character in for free, which if it's a pirate, maybe moving in for free anyhow. If it's not a pirate though, you're getting some value right there. And also Tuk Tuk, if you're moving him into something like Jolly Roger, could potentially have haste, so that could be great for you. Could have rush. Then, as I mentioned previously, we are playing John Silver in this deck. How can you not? It is a location / pirate deck, so John Silver is incredibly important. He is a pirate and a captain, so he does trigger Smee's ability, where he won't take the damage if you have him in play. And being a pirate, obviously he works with Jolly Roger and is themed into the deck. He's a 3/3 for 3. For each location you have in play, he gets +1 lore and +1 resist, which can just be really, really good. If you have a few locations out, he can get kind of ridiculous, questing for 4 and being really hard to remove because he has resist 3 and nothing is really touching him in that scenario. So fantastic option, really good with Tuk Tuk, really good with some of our other cards in the deck like Smee, Jolly Roger, all that good stuff. People have told me in the past that 1 I find in my Platinum is not enough. I do think it could be. I almost played 1 Benja over this just so I could kind of keep my foot on the gas, but he is also not a pirate, and this can deal with all items, so if you're playing against those item decks, it's definitely a card you keep on the mulligan or mulligan aggressively for, then potentially draw into. Keep in mind in this game you could mulligan all 7 cards from your hand and look at the top 14 cards of your deck reasonably well, and then hope for digging for the Find in My Platinum if you don't get it in those cards. So banish all items, good option. And we got 2 of our last location that we play in the deck. That is 2 RLS Legacies. Characters gain evasive while they're here, so that's great for getting that questing in late game without getting interrupted. And if you have a character here, you may pay 2 less to move other characters into it. Obviously Tuk Tuk can move characters into it for free, so that can really help circumvent the cost, because it's going to be 3 to move a character in, otherwise Tuk Tuk costs 3, so it really balances out what RLS's Legacy's ability is. And also it's great with another card that we are playing in the deck that we will talk more about later, but it's going to get you 2 lore at the beginning of each turn passively, which can make for huge lore swings. Another card that can make for huge lore swings in this deck, even though I think it's getting a little overlooked for pirates right now. People didn't think it was the greatest, and maybe in some cases it's not. However, with Jolly Roger, this card gets pretty good. 4 cost, 3/4, quest for 1, but during your turn when this character banishes a character in a challenge, your other characters, not just pirates, your other characters get +1 lore this turn. With Jolly Roger and him being a pirate, he can come out with rush and kill something right away when your opponent doesn't expect it, give all your other guys +1 lore, and just straight up win you the game. So I'm not sure why this card is being undervalued. Maybe just a lot of people aren't hot on pirates yet. It is worth noting this Donald Duck is also a captain, so he does also keep Smee from dealing damage to himself. Only playing 2 right now. I may go to more than that because I do think this card is pretty good for pirates. Then we do have Captain Hook, obviously another pirate, and another captain to keep Smee alive. He is a shift 3, challenger +3, so when he's attacking he is a 5/5. Characters with cost 3 or less can't challenge into him, so if you're dealing with your opponent's big threats, sometimes he can sit on the board uncontested and just blast guys away. And obviously he does shift onto our smaller Captain Hook. And like I mentioned with RLS Legacy, we are playing to Jim Hawkins. When you play this character, you may play a location with cost 4 or less from your hand for free, and then he may move into said location. And then when you play a location, he may move into it for free. So obvious synergy with RLS Legacy, and he is a 4/4/4/5 that quests for 2. Also not a captain or a pirate, which I think is a little bit of a missed opportunity. I kind of felt like he should be a captain by the end of the movie, but that's all right. We have another pirate here. We do have 3 captain hooks in this deck, also a captain, keeping Smee from taking that damage. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you may ready him, and characters named Peter Pan lose evasive and can't gain evasive. Peter Pan does see a little bit of play, but not too much, so I don't know how relevant that end ability is, but he is a 5/4/5 with Jolly Roger on the board. He does kind of work like a small Scar, because you can bring him out, give him rush. He is not a 6/5, so he can attack into less guys, but he is a pirate, so obviously he works with the synergy of the deck overall. Then, like I mentioned, to go with our small Queen of Hearts, we are also playing the big Queen of Hearts, Sensing Weakness. Shift 2. Pretty crazy. Can come down very inexpensive. Whenever one of your characters challenges another character, you may draw a card. So this is one of your card draw engines for this deck, which is incredibly important, being able to draw some cards, because this deck can run out of gas. There are a lot of Amethyst decks out there that are drawing cards like crazy. Sapphire decks could draw cards like crazy, so trying to keep up with that a little bit while you're taking their characters off the board can be pretty important. Then our other card draw option, we're going to be looking at our Enchanted Proxy version, and just because we are talking about the Enchanted Proxy Beast, we are going to go ahead and give away a playset of these for this video. So if you're dropping a comment below, you're going to be entered to win a playset of Enchanted Beast proxies. These are something we made up. If you don't win that playset and you want to be able to download the art for this card and print them yourselves at home, definitely go ahead and jump over to our Patreon. It is available to all Illumineer tier Patreon members. I do have non-proxy versions of these. They are just in another deck. For those of you who aren't familiar with Beast Tragic Hero, though, he is a 5 cost 3/5 shift 3, which isn't relevant to this deck. He does not have a shift target. Does quest for 2, and during your turn, if he has no damage on him, you are going to go ahead and draw a card, an extra card at the beginning of your turn. And if he does have damage on him during your turn, he is going to get +4 attack, which makes him a great option to take out locations. A lot of times your opponent is going to put damage on him, even if they can only put partial damage on him, just so they can go ahead and be able to shut off your card draw with this card. But obviously another card draw option in this deck, which is very important. Then we do also run the nuclear card draw option, only 2 of them, because it's not necessarily something you want to have to play, but if you can get it out early in the game and it is relevant, or even late in the game, sometimes it can be relevant if your opponent has a lot more cards than you. But each player discards their hand and draws 7 cards, is singable by many of the characters in this deck. Everybody knows the Whole New World, fantastic option. Then I played a 2/2 on our major removal. So we have 2 Grab Your Swords to deal with some of those cheaper characters, some of those aggro decks that are out there in the format right now. Again, singable by a lot of the characters in this deck. 5 cost card, deal 2 damage to all your opponent's characters, always good. And then the last card in the deck, and the only 7 drop, we do run To Be Prepared. Everybody knows this card, cost 7, banish all characters. Again, the nuclear character removal option. So we are only running 2. We are running 2 Grab Your Swords to balance that out, to deal with those melee decks without destroying our own characters. But what do you think of this deck? Do you like pirates as an archetype going into set 4? Is it a deck that you're going to be messing around with? Definitely drop those comments below and let me know how you're feeling about pirates. Thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers and for sticking with me, tuning into the channel, and always showing me love in the comments. You guys are truly the best audience I could ask for. I love always to read your comments and to be able to interact with you, so definitely keep them coming. I want to hear what you have to say. And like I mentioned before, if you haven't joined the free tier on Patreon, definitely hop over there and check that out. Join in on the conversation and vote on what deck list you would most like to see me play in the future. If you feel so inclined, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And when you see those toys, video games, and pirate decks featuring Jolly Roger off in the distance, it is not a mirage. You guys have a great day.